Hmm. What happened to Elise Stefanik? Ah! I don't know, man. It looks sketchy as shit. I don't know if the threats got to her. I know that she looked like she was really good for us and she was gaining power. Um, but before I go into all the different conspiracy theories, because I've been jumping around the internet, I want to tell you this story about the old Chinese farmer. Or not old, but the Chinese farmer. I don't remember where I heard it. We can make it an American farmer. It doesn't matter. I just read it one day as Chinese farmer. So we'll say the farmer. He's his horse gets out one night, and he goes out there, and his only horse is gone, and all his neighbors say, "Oh my goodness, that's terrible. There's no way you can survive." And he says, "Maybe." And the next day, the horse returns with five other horses behind it, and now he has a stall full of horses. And he closes the gate, and everyone comes over and says, "Oh my God, you're so lucky! Look at all the horses you have. You're rich now." And the farmer says, "Maybe." So then his son is trying to break one of the new horses, and he falls and breaks his leg. And everybody says, "Oh my God, how are you going to get your work done? Like you can't do all the work. What can you possibly do? How are you going to survive?" And he says, "They say this is so terrible," and he says, "Maybe." And the next day, uh, the Chinese government comes to conscript soldiers, and they can't take his son because he's got a broken leg. And all the villagers come over and they say, "Oh, you are so lucky. Your son didn't have to go to war because of his broken leg. You're so lucky." And he just says, "Maybe." The fact is, all these things that are happening, you have no control over. You don't try and guess what they're good or bad. Just go with the flow, man. Um, we thought Elise Stefanik was the one. A lot of us thought, and a lot of people were putting their eggs in her basket, and she obviously isn't. Maybe she was threatened. Maybe the Republicans are trying to get her out because she didn't do her time in the system. I mean, it's kind of sketchy. We got an old white guy again, and I'm not going to go into his past, but because I don't know, and I'm not here to make enemies. I'm here for you. I'm here for you to work through this so you don't get all excited. Because the biggest problem I had looking at this online is everybody's so emotional. Just look at his maybe. You got to vote. You got to play the game because if you don't vote, they win. Um, but don't get excited. You don't know who's who. You don't know any of those people. There was one. Apparently, there's been a big wave of congressmen and Republicans resigning since the Epstein files. And some are saying that she's part of that, or that she knew people that was part of that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not saying she is. I'm not saying she isn't. I'm not trying to start. I'm just saying you don't know. You didn't know. You don't know if she's good. You don't know if she's bad. You know, I was a huge supporter of Barack Obama because I thought he was the opposite side of the liberal party. I thought when he beat Hillary Clinton, I'm like, we know Hillary Clinton's evil. Like, there's no maybe. That bitch is evil, and he beat her, so he must be the good side. Because I've always loved the good side of the liberal, because a true liberal is just a lot of heart with no brains. They're like, "Oh, we should save everybody." Well, you're going to sink our lifeboat. You can't save everybody, but we should. Yes, we should. If we could, we would. So I always had a understanding for the left and a love for the left, and they're just people that want to do more and don't think of how to do it. They're the dreamers, and we need them. Um, and then obviously he turned out to be just as evil as the rest of them. He brought racism back, which was single-handedly basically. Not saying there wasn't racism before, but he brought it right to the forefront and started putting, the minor amount of cops abusing uh young black men, even though the numbers said they were worse to young white men. But hey, what the hell? You just don't know. Um, Even Trump, you don't know Trump. You don't know. Like I vote for Trump. I support Trump. It seems to me the fruit from his tree helps. Even though I hate what I like to make excuses and say all the stuff he says is some kind of political ploy. I've met people that talk to President Trump, and they all said he's amazing outside. Look at who's the freaking old white comedian? Bill Maher, when he went and met Trump, he's like, "Why isn't that guy out there? He's amazing." Because behind the scenes, they're all different because it's all a stage and it's all a game. You know what isn't a stage and isn't a game? Your family, your kids, your wife, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father. um, your best friend because you don't have any family, whatever. Whoever you make family, whoever you are in your inner circle, that's what's real. That's the only thing that's real. The rest of it is bullshit. You can play the game. I recommend you play the game and vote, but it's all just a game. You don't know. So don't get excited. Don't shit on your people. Don't argue and get all emotional. Blah, all that negative emotion. Me personally, I think that's what the game's about. I think that game wants to create all your negative emotions. And the worst thing you can do is pound out all that negative emotion. So relax, chill out. Um, if all the stuff that you're seeing on your phone or your computer is pissing you off, put it away. Go outside, have some fun. Will this old white guy help us out? Maybe. Pretty sure Hoka will bury us. I don't think that's a maybe. A lot of hate in that woman, unless you're like a murderer rapist. Then there's a ton of love. But again, she used the liberal love against him and used it for power. So it is what it is. And I do that same when I look at ahead. Will I get my job back? Maybe. Is getting my job back good for me? I think, oh my God, the amount of money I would get if I get back pay, hell yeah. Maybe. Maybe it pulls me back into that life that I don't want. Um, I kind of made a deal with God. I feel like He put all this pressure on me because this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to learn how to podcast and learn to share my knowledge and my how I look at life, because I believe if you look at life like I do, for the most part life is way easier, and that's what we need. We need people to stop being super emotional and angry and scared, and just freaking relax, do the right thing as best as you can, and breathe, breathe. So I don't know what happened to Elise. No one will probably ever actually know, but I know that you should relax and it's okay. No matter what happens, it's okay. Put your energy into your family. So I love you all. Stay strong and stop freaking out.